That was, magical moment. That evening, I think, is when it actually happened.
Abba's music brought joy to millions, but behind the catchy tunes and glittery outfits was a personal drama that was anything but glamorous. Bjorn Ulvaeus and Agnetha Falskog were the golden couple of the band, until their love story turned into a heartbreak. While their voices harmonized on stage, their personal lives were falling apart, leading to a painful divorce that rocked the band and their fans. For years, Bjorn kept the details of their troubled marriage private. But now, he's finally opening up about the nightmares they faced. Join us as we uncover the real story behind their split and reveal what really happened. Bjorn Ulvaeus and Agnetha Falskog, Abba's love story begins. Bjorn Ulvaeus, one of Abba's most iconic members, was born in Gothenburg, Sweden on April 25, 1945. He spent his early years in Västervik, a small town in Kalmar County, after moving there with his family in 1951. Bjorn's parents, Aina and Erik Ulvaeus, raised him alongside his sister Eva. Before his Abba days, Bjorn served in the military, and his life seemed fairly ordinary until he discovered his passion for music. Bjorn's musical journey began when he joined the Swedish folk Schlager band Hootenanny Singers, originally called the West Bay Singers. The band became incredibly popular in Scandinavia, gaining a large following. In 1966, while touring southern Sweden, Bjorn crossed paths with the Hepstars, a popular band at the time. It was during this tour that he met Benny Andersson, the Hepstars' keyboard player, who would become his lifelong friend and musical partner. Bjorn and Benny clicked right away, sharing a deep love for songwriting. Their chemistry was undeniable, and they soon began writing songs together. Their first song, Isn't It Easy to Say, was recorded by Benny's band, the Hepstars, marking the beginning of a legendary partnership. As their friendship and creative collaboration grew, they started helping out in each other's bands, often adding guitar and keyboard parts to various recordings. The duo continued to write together, and in 1968 they penned two songs, A Flower in My Garden and Ljuva Sextiodal. The latter became a hit in Sweden, performed by Britta Borg, a popular artist of the time. This early success fueled their passion for music even further. Meanwhile, Agnetha Falskog was charting her own path in music. Born on April 5, 1950 in Jönköping, Sweden, Agnetha was the eldest daughter of Knut and Birgit Falskog. From a young age, Agnetha was surrounded by music. Her father had a keen interest in show business, and she quickly followed in his footsteps. At just 6 years old, she wrote her first song, Two Small Trolls, showing her early talent and creativity. By 1958, she was taking piano lessons and singing in her local church choir, nurturing her natural musical abilities. Agnetha formed her first band, the Cambers, with friends when she was just a teenager. Though the group didn't last long, her dedication to music never wavered. By 15, she was performing professionally with a local dance band while balancing a job as a telephonist. Agnetha's musical influences included big names like Connie Francis, Marianne Faithfull, and Aretha Franklin, shaping her unique vocal style. Bjorn and Agnetha's paths finally crossed in 1968, when Bjorn was still with the Hootenanny Singers. The chemistry between them was instant, and they began dating shortly after meeting. Their connection grew, leading to a romantic relationship that blossomed both on and off the stage. The couple tied the knot on July 6, 1971, in a ceremony where Bjorn even played the organ, a fitting tribute to their shared love of music. The couple welcomed two children into their lives, Linda, born in 1973, and Peter, born in 1977. While their family life seemed picture-perfect, the pressures of fame and the complexities of their personal relationship were never far behind. Bjorn and Agnetha's love story was magical, but also marked by challenges, eventually leading to their highly publicized divorce in 1980. The shocking revelation by Bjorn. Bjorn Ulvaeus has always been private about his personal life, but he recently opened up about his journey with Agnetha Falskog, his fellow Abba member and first love. Their story began in the late 1960s when Bjorn, then part of the Hootenanny Singers, met Agnetha, a budding singer-songwriter. Although Abba hadn't formed yet, the sparks between Bjorn and Agnetha were immediate. "I don't know if she did, but I did. No doubt about it," Bjorn admitted when asked if they fell in love at first sight. After meeting, Bjorn soon traveled to Jönköping to meet Agnetha's family. He remembers those early days vividly, like the little room in her home where she wrote songs. They had so much in common, especially their love for music. Their bond grew stronger, and their engagement followed quickly. While on holiday in Cyprus, the couple exchanged rings on the plane, though Bjorn's ring was too big and fell into the sea soon after arriving. "It was awful," he recalls, but it didn't dampen their spirits. Despite their growing connection, Abba was still not on their radar. During that time, they often met up with Benny Andersson and Annie Frid Lyngstad, who would also become members of Abba. The two couples often sang together during vacations, never once considering starting a band. They simply enjoyed performing for fun, using their guitars to entertain friends without any formal plan. Their music journey took a pivotal turn in 1973 with the release of Ring Ring, Abba's first album. The following year, their big break came when they won the Eurovision Song Contest with Waterloo. This catapulted them to international fame. But surprisingly, Bjorn's most vivid memories aren't of the glamorous performances. Instead, he recalls the simple moments at home with Agnetha. One morning stands out. Bjorn stood in his underwear, staring at his reflection in the mirror, thinking he didn't quite look like a pop star anymore. "I had gained a lot of weight. Agnetha cooked cabbage pudding and I ate too much. I was chubby, you could say," he laughed. As Abba's popularity soared, Bjorn and Agnetha also started a family. Their daughter Linda was born in 1973, the same year as Abba's debut album, followed by their son Christian in 1977. Balancing family life with Abba's demanding schedule was a challenge. "It wasn't that hard," Bjorn said, reflecting on those busy years. However, Agnetha found it difficult to leave the kids behind for tours and promotions, often feeling torn between her role as a mother and a global music icon. The challenges of fame and family life. Abba's fame reached new heights in the late 70s and early 80s, especially with their major world tour in 1979 and 1980. They performed in North America, Japan, and other parts of the world. However, this period wasn't easy for the band, particularly for Bjorn and Agnetha. Bjorn admitted that they were pushed into touring, with their record label pressuring them to perform in every major city. While Benny and Annie Frid seemed to enjoy the spotlight, Bjorn and Agnetha were less enthusiastic. "We were coerced," Bjorn confessed, adding that Agnetha particularly disliked the long trips away from their children. Before the big world tour, Abba mainly did TV appearances in Europe and avoided extensive tours, especially in the US. Their decision not to tour the US was a conscious one, driven by their desire to stay close to family. Despite this, Abba still managed to have several top 20 hits in the US. Reflecting on this, Bjorn said, "We could have been a lot bigger in the US if we would have gone there, but we didn't, because we had children." This attitude was unpopular with their record label, but Bjorn firmly believed it was the right choice. Who will remember who was touring in the 70s? Does it matter today? Not at all. The constant balancing act between family and fame eventually took its toll on Bjorn and Agnetha's marriage. By the late 1970s, they decided to part ways. According to Bjorn, it was a mutual decision. "It's not like one of us was really sad. It was a failure, sure, and you are sad about that. But we both realized that the best thing we could do was to part." According to him, they simply grew apart, something that often happens when people marry young. But despite the end of their marriage, Bjorn and Agnetha continued to work together professionally until Abba disbanded in 1982. Love, Loss, and the Song That Told It All. You see, Agnetha Fältskog and Bjorn Ulvaeus were one of Abba's iconic couples, but their split in 1979 was anything but easy. Despite the public facade of a happy divorce, it was a painful chapter for Agnetha, one that she later opened up about in her book As I Am. She revealed that they had always told the media it was an amicable split, but behind closed doors, things were different. Divorce is never easy, especially when there are children involved, and Agnetha admitted that the happy image they portrayed was just a front. After the breakup, Bjorn quickly moved on and found a new girlfriend within a week. This sudden shift hit Agnetha hard. She struggled with her emotions, needing therapy to cope with the end of their marriage and the rapid changes in her personal life. The Evening Standard described Agnetha as emotionally mangled during this period. She was trying to balance her roles as a mother and a global pop star, and it was not an easy feat. The pain of their breakup found its way into Abba's music. Bjorn, inspired by their split, wrote one of the band's most famous songs, "The Winner Takes It All." The song became an anthem of heartbreak, and Agnetha's emotional performance gave it a haunting quality. Singing the lyrics, "Tell me, does she kiss like I used to kiss you?" allowed Agnetha to channel her raw feelings into the music. She later said it was a mix of what she and Bjorn felt, along with the emotions Benny and Frida were also experiencing with their own relationship struggles. Agnetha felt it was fantastic to sing that song because she could pour her heart into it. She didn't mind sharing her pain with the world, feeling it was almost therapeutic. The track became a hit, not just because of its catchy tune, but also because of the real, relatable emotions that resonated with so many people. It was like listening to Agnetha tell her story, and she didn't hold back. But the divorce also had its darker side for Agnetha. She dealt with guilt for being away from her children, Linda and Christian, while touring. Her fear of flying and anxiety around large crowds didn't help either. Agnetha was shy and often felt overwhelmed compared to her bandmates. This anxiety only added to the strain of performing and being in the public eye. Over time, the pressures of fame, failed relationships, and the challenges of raising a family took their toll on the band. Although Abba continued to work together, things were no longer as fun or easy. Eventually, the band split in 1982, unable to keep going amid the personal struggles that each member faced. The end of Abba and the pain of divorce. The breakup of Abba in the early 80s marked the end of an era. Agnetha, who was already struggling with her fears and the emotional fallout from her divorce, found this period especially tough. She once had terrifying daydreams of fans consuming her alive, highlighting just how overwhelmed she felt. It wasn't just about singing anymore, it was about managing personal turmoil under the spotlight. Agnetha's split from Bjorn wasn't the only failed relationship within the band. Benny and Frida also called it quits, making it even harder for the group to stay united. Bjorn later reflected on this time, admitting that while his split from Agnetha was relatively amicable, Benny and Frida's breakup was more complicated. Despite the pain, this period still sparked creativity for the band, leading to songs that many fans still hold dear. The creative process, however, wasn't enough to keep the group together. By the time they returned to the studio in 1982, the fun had fizzled out. It was clear that things were not the same. The divorces had driven a wedge between them, and even the music couldn't fully bridge the gap. Reflecting on these times, Bjorn said he understood Agnetha's reluctance to leave their children and go on promotional tours. For her, being away from her kids was a constant battle, especially when she was also grappling with the end of her marriage. The idea of a happy divorce felt like a cruel joke. In truth, it was messy, painful, and far from the polished image they presented to the public. Even though the band's legacy is filled with glitter, platform shoes, and hit songs, it's these deeply personal moments that remind us that Abba was more than just a pop group. They were four people navigating love, loss, and life in the spotlight. Abba's new album hints at old wounds and lingering feelings. After more than 40 long years, Abba surprised the world with their new album, Voyage, released on the 5th of November 2021. For fans, this was more than just music. It was a trip down memory lane filled with emotions that never fully healed. The album doesn't shy away from revisiting the past. Agnetha Falskog and Bjorn Ulvaeus, once married, and Benny Andersson and Annifrid Lyngstad, who also shared a failed marriage, weave their personal histories into the songs. The lyrics are laced with heartbreak, regret, and a glimpse of hope that makes you wonder if some old flames never really died out. Take the track I Can Be That Woman, for example. In it, Agnetha and Annifrid sing lines like, "You're not the man you should have been. I let you down somehow. I'm not the woman I could have been, but I can be that woman now." This isn't just a song. It feels like a conversation between two people who've been through it all, love, loss, and everything in between. They sing about seeing a shimmer of hope in the regret of wasted years. It's powerful, relatable, and very raw. Then there's Keep an Eye on Dan, where the lyrics explore the pain of sharing custody of a child with an ex-partner. Though Benny and Frida never had children together, the story hits close to home for Agnetha and Bjorn, who had 2 kids, Linda and Peter. In the song, the woman leaves her son with his father, reflecting on the everlasting feelings. And he loves his dad. And I've loved him too. Maybe I still do. But it's over. That last line, "Maybe I still do, but it's over," paints a picture of unresolved emotions, showing how complex their relationships truly were. You see, the themes of longing and questioning old decisions continue in When You Danced With Me. The lyrics ask if the reunion was just about the music or if there was something more. They sing, "You're just here for the music, that's all." Or could it be, "You miss the good old times when you danced with me"? The song captures the awkwardness of coming back together after decades apart, the mixed feelings and the unspoken questions that are still there. Were they there for the right reasons, or was there still something left between them? Well, only the band could tell. Abba's return was as unexpected as it was emotional. But the band members made it clear, this is their last album. The final curtain call and a bittersweet farewell. In a candid interview with The Guardian, Benny Andersson, one of the main songwriters, said, "This is it. It's gotta be." Unlike their first split in 1982, which was clouded by divorces and personal issues, this time the decision felt final and mutual. There's no going back. They've said everything they needed to say, and this album is the full stop on their story. But before Voyage even hit the shelves, fans were already buzzing. 2 tracks released early, I Still Have Faith in You and Don't Shut Me Down, hinted at the deep bond between the members, even after all these years. In I Still Have Faith in You, the lyrics talk about a union of heart and mind, the likes of which are rare and oh so hard to find. It's like the song is acknowledging that despite everything, there's a connection that time and heartbreak couldn't completely erase. You see, their final album doesn't just end with nostalgia. It's layered with acceptance, regret, and the acknowledgement of shared history. In No Doubt About It, the women sing about taking responsibility for their past mistakes, admitting, "I made a mess this time and there's no doubt about it. Hands down, the fault is mine and I'm prepared to shout it out across the rooftops." They're not shying away from their flaws. They're embracing them, showing a maturity that comes only with time and reflection. And as if to put an exclamation point on their incredible journey, Abba announced a unique Voyage tour set to kick off in London, featuring avatars of their younger selves. They also filmed their movements and merged them with body doubles, creating a concert experience that captured the essence of Abba without pretending they haven't aged. This was a way for fans to see their idols perform in a way that blends past and present, keeping the soul of Abba alive. But as bittersweet as this chapter is, fans were grateful. One fan summed it up perfectly, tweeting, "Not surprised, they're in their 70s. I'm just happy they recorded a final album." For a band that has given so much of themselves in their music, Voyage feels like the perfect way to say goodbye, full of memories, reflections, and songs that hint at a love that may never fully fade away. What's your favorite Abba hit and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking stories.